ladies and gentlemen. I'm Skip Davis. I, like Ms. Smith, am equally disturbed that the city seems to have forgotten that there were 2 young men who were laid viciously upon by the police department on that fateful night in May. The second young man was Sir Smith. Now, Sir Smith survived. However, don't ever let it even into your mind that Sir Smith did not suffer an egregious injury, a shot in the chest. Right. In the chest, adjacent to his heart. Probably less than a quarter inch to the left, we would have 2 fatalities. Sir Smith did not have a gun on him that night. That's right. Sir Smith was asleep in the front seat. Nate Sanders was shot in the back of the head. Amen. Those things are disturbing. You know, we're Texans and we believe in the Wild West and all those things, and we believe in having showdowns and gunfights, but we face each other. We're going to have a fight. But here we got somebody gets shot in the back of the head. Sir Smith shot in the chest under arduous, weird circumstances that weren't adequately, I don't think, explored in front of the grand jury. So one of the things I want to ask that this body do, because you do deliberate kind of as a legal function of the city, I think that you can file a formal request to release the grand jury transcripts. And let's let the district attorney deny.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's let them stand in the way. But let's not ignore the fact that that grand jury exercise resulted in a perverse result. That's not what people were expecting to see. All right. Police policies have been beaten up on here in this August chamber here all night long, and I won't belabor that. But what we do have to remember is that even if you're awake, police have to identify themselves and tell you, put your hands up and step outside, assume the position, as they would say, on 1 Adam 12. And here we got none of that. Instead, you just get open fire and shooting and killing people.
32.
Second question, was there probable cause? Now, we're lawyers, and some of the people on the August board are lawyers. Was there probable cause? A legal fact that gives a police officer the standing to interfere in the private actions of citizens while not breaking the law. Was there probable cause for the police officers to engage in that kind of activity, that kind of behavior that resulted in 2 men being shot? That's an extraordinary question that seems to have been overlooked. I guess that means I'm done. But one of the things I want to really point out, last 2 points I want to really make, I'll make them quickly. One of them is go back and look at that video. It's extraordinary how an officer who's trained to protect and serve shoots at somebody while running around backwards, and rather than taking cover from the person of whom he's fearful he's going to be shot, he stands in the middle of the parking lot like he's at Dave and Buster's at a video arcade. He did not take cover. One officer did take cover because of the wild shooting of the officer. And you can see that on the video clearly. So I urge everybody to go back and review all of those things. Those actions are actions of an irresponsible police officer who I would question whether or not he was sober that night. Now, the question of his sobriety has to go either to drugs or to steroids.
Thank you. Yep.
Steroids are an equal problem that we have with rage of people in authority. It feeds that rage. I don't know if a toxicology report was taken or blood was taken of the officer after this shooting. But if it was, I'd be curious to see the results of that, especially as it goes to steroids. Now, the last thing I'd ask you is, I served in the military for an eternity, it seems like, and retired. And I had a boss one time who was a black man who dressed me down one day for supporting a soldier who had misbehaved. The man had asked me, "Was that a good soldier?" I said, "Yes, sir, he was. He's a good soldier. Well, does a good soldier follow your orders? Yes, sir, he does. Does he follow procedures? Yes, sir, he does. Then why are you standing here in front of me today, making excuses for him drinking and driving? Therefore, I had to conclude he did not follow my orders. He was not a good soldier. Here is a police officer who failed to activate his camera. Is he a good cop? No. That's a bad act. Here's a police officer who drew his weapon and shot somebody in the back of the head, running away from him. Is that a good police officer? That's a bad act. Here's a police officer who stood in the middle of a parking lot without taking cover, clearly showing that he had no fear.
Yes, sir.
But rather, he was going to execute somebody.
That's right.
Something. I can't excuse or condone those activities. I spent an eternity, I tell you, serving in a capacity for this country. It troubles me to come home to Texas to find brown people, light brown, high yellows, dark brown, every year buried because of police misconduct. So I urge this committee, if you don't reject outright the police investigation or if it comes back and supports the grand jury, if you don't reject it outright, then I urge this august body